Hello, Chainsaw Valkyrie, your Appalachian princess, coming to you one last time with the final part of Tales from the Holler. This is it, folks. This brings it all to an end. Everything wraps up here. So get ready for the Witch Wars Part 3. Thunder was booming and a bright lightning flashed as the town and the army of darkness all clashed. But let me rewind and recount how it started before we who are living fought the dead and departed. 5 minutes ago we townfolk arrived, just a few moments after poor Peggy died. We saw the old witch raise her dead sister's body with the aid of her beast and the foul Frankendottie. The recently raised fair Sister Bone Clit, whose heart is malignant and twisted and sick, shouted her cackling voice to the heavens and said, "Sister, it's time. We must now slay the 7. But first let us kill these 2 simpering lasses and call forth the demons in legionous masses." She raised in her hand that is ancient and veiny a knife for to kill Stitch's goodly wife Janie. Her sister intended to slay Catherine Dottie and drain all the blood from her soon lifeless body. But before the witch sisters could make either one dead, a man in the shadows with a deeply charred head sprang like a cat with a hatchet and knife and intended to take the old witch's life. It was Eric, the phantom, the psychotic mangler, the one who had worked at the bait shop called Angler's. He'd said Catherine his love one cold Christmas day, when the vaporous miners had arisen to slay. Her frightened eyes grew full of glad recognition, and she knew she was saved from her hopeless condition. He hit Granny Ferris in the back with a hatchet. The hag was too slow and unable to catch it. For anyone else it would have been tragic, but the witch was unfazed because of black magic. While the phantom continued on saving the day, Stitches the Scarecrow stepped into the fray. Quickly he moved to save his wife Janie from the knife in the hand that was ancient and veiny. He swung his great sickle to cut off her hand, but he missed the old witch, who was recently dead. He swung once again, this time drawing blood, desperate to save his most dearly beloved. His next blow, however, caught the hand with the dagger and lopped it right off, and she started to stagger. She screamed as she looked at her now bloody stump. She took a few steps, then she fell in a slump. Janie then saw her Scarecrow avenger. She knew that his heart was still soft and was tender. He picked her up gently in his burlappy arms, and he carried her back to her home at the farm. He took one last look at the wife he adored, then sadly returned to the life he abhorred, to live out his life with no one but the crows, his dust and his weeds and his burlappish clothes. We of the town who were making all haste arrived at the battle with no time to waste. When we came to the home of the Queen of the Witches, our group was assailed by the demonic twitches and the vaporous miners, along with Mad Jack, the Halloween killer who always comes back. The clodhopper apes and the carnivorous bodies, the goblin lake fiend, and the foul Frankendottie. We were met by the vampire, the redneckish Dracula, known around here by the name of Tabacula. This was the battle to decide the town's fate, to carve up the witch and to keep closed the gate. All of us fought with the weapons we had, for our sisters, our brothers, our moms, and our dads. Lulabelle came armed with bovine juice. She fought right beside of a fellow named Bruce, who held in his hand a chainsaw most epic. He was filled with a rage. He was most apoplectic. Murray and Ned went to rescue the 7, while the rest of us fought neath the lightning-streaked heavens. The battle was vast. The death toll was tragic. The town against things that were raised by black magic. The vortex it glowed, it pulsed and it shimmered, while Gene went to war with the Goblin Lake swimmer. He held in his hand a rusty fish scaler that he usually kept stored in his old travel trailer. He also was armed with a gig with 6 prongs, and each one of them was near 3 inches long. He set out to fight in his best fishing waders that was made from the skin of a rogue alligator. Gilbert and Jean, they fought tooth and nail, and who'd be the victor, I just couldn't tell. The townsfolk were fighting the nightmarish beasties who come out at night when they're hungry and feasty. Lulabelle, careful not to break open her stitches, trampled and stomped on two goblin-like twitches. Abigail Trotter fought the vaporous miners and held off two zombies, those flesh-eating diners. Mad Jack was vicious. He murdered, he hacked, while the twitches all giggled as each one attacked. The vaporous miners commenced with the killing. To butcher us up they were only too willing, and Tobacula feasted on a feller named Paul, while blood ran and dripped on his bib overalls. As the Bassangler Phantom fought the Queen of the Witches, she called out and summoned a horde of the Twitches to come to her aid and rip Eric asunder. As rain started falling amid peals of thunder, Eric fought hard to protect his charred body, as I ran to save the sweet Catherine Dottie. Unknown to her, she had captured my heart, the first time I saw her at the Bassangler Mart. Mary and Ned had the seven released, as the rain and the thunder and the lightning increased. The clodhopper beast and the foul Frankendottie, along with an army of hungry dead bodies, murdered and mangled with gory ambition, while old Granny Ferris got back to her mission. She spoke the foul words of her ritual black, as she stood there protected by the evil Mad Jack. Let those who are trapped beyond yon portal door now be released and come hither once more. Let darkness now reign in the whole world of men, that the evil that was be unleashed once again. The portal now started to spin like a twister, thrown open wide by the Ferris witch sister. Evil things started to pour through the gate. Our mission was lost. We had got there too late. The old witch had won, and she had not a worry, or so she supposed, till she caught sight of Murray, who fought his way through past the foul Frankendottie, the Halloween killer, and a swarm of dead bodies. The hag's evil curse kept him safe from all harm, and his proximity filled her heart with alarm. The witch and the werewolf were facing each other, set to do battle and to kill one another. She could no longer control the wolf beast. He wouldn't obey her, no, not in the least. The witch raised her knife that was silver and pure, and said, "Only in death, wolf, will you find a cure." She plunged her great blade into Murray's left breast, and it sank to the hilt in his broad furry chest. Her laughter grew loud neath the black stormy skies, as she watched as the light faded from Murray's eyes. But before the great wolf swooned in death's cold embrace, he raked his great claws neath her old haggard face. He had one final task before he could perish. He tore at her throat, and he killed Granny Ferris. He fell to the ground, and he slowly transformed, and he died there in peace, atoned and reformed. From the moment the old witch had died gasping and choking, her hold on the clodhopper creatures was broken. The savage apes turned and went home to their holler, near the marshy mud pits where the boar go to waller. The miners returned to the park that they haunted, and Mad Jack was free to kill all that he wanted. Eric the Phantom, still fighting the twitches, the ones who were called by the Queen of the Witches, shouted to me and said, "You, Jacob Hurst, take Catherine from here, from this land that is cursed. You should both leave, live your lives far away, and try to forget what you saw here today." The vortexy portal now spun in reverse, and sucked back the unnamed and all his accursed. Also drawn in was the demonic twitches, the ones conjured up by the blackest of witches. The portal ensnared the foul Frankendottie, the old granny witch, and the zombified bodies that feasted on livers and hearts and on spleens, like the first time I fought them with great Uncle Gene. Not the same Gene that took Gilbert's eye and comforts poor Nathan each time that he cries. The goblin-like demon and the Bassangler pro, with the death of the witch, were both ready to go. Gene went back to town with his tales brave and bold, and kept Nathan enraptured with each one that he told. Gilbert slouched off to his home Goblin Lake, and Tobacula left to avoid getting staked. And the darkness primeval was never released. Our town had been saved by the mountaintop beast. The townfolk and I, along with Ned Dottie, checked on the 7 and cleaned up the bodies of all we had lost by the cursed witch's hand, and the horrible beasts that were hers to command. Magic was missing, like all times before, and I pray that he doesn't come round here no more. The dead witch's sister, who goes by Bone Click, the one with the heart that is twisted and sick, escaped in the night with her severed right hand, hopefully gone from this mountaintop land. The next day myself and the sweet Catherine Dotty went back and we searched to find Eric Tate's body. Catherine had wanted to lay him to rest for the kindness he'd shown to the one he loved best. Eric was gone and we found not a trace. I suppose he survived and returned to his place. I guess he lives on, still a phantom at Anglers, an angel, a demon, a savior, a mangler. Catherine left for him a rose at Point Park. I think she may love him somewhere in her heart. Our grateful town buried their hero named Murray, who no more is cursed as a wolf to be furry. Even Lulabelle went to be part of his wake. She munched lots of oats while we all had lots of cake. We laid him to rest, and I know this is sappy, but we buried him next to his hunting dog Pappy. I hope he finds peace in the final hereafter. I hope he has love and a whole lot of laughter. No more a slave to his lunar affliction, free of his curse and his bloodthirst addiction. It's now been 2 years and the witch war is over. I married Catherine and we now live in Dover. I talk now and then to my friend Sheila Dotty, who helped me fight off the dead, rotten bodies. The night when the moon turned an ominous red, the night that the town called the dusk of the dead. From what I have heard, the town is at peace, safe now from evil and murderous beast. Someday we'll return to our mountaintop home and set down our roots, and we'll never more roam. The end. For now. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you all had fun listening. I sure had fun making these. And I know I'm horrible for killing Murray, but guess what? You have no reason to fear because Murray's already resurrected for part 2. Keep posted and stay creepy.